To become a sponsor of our show and have your business or event promoted on every single podcast platform, 2 Philadelphia radio stations on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. evening drive time, an FM station in New York, and to the millions of Facebook users worldwide with access to the Facebook mobile app. Send us an email to either foodfarmsandchefs@yahoo.com or diningonadime@yahoo.com.
And we're back. Chef Gene, introduce us to your fabulous guest.
Well, it's such a great honor to be talking with the organizers behind an absolutely fabulous event coming up in Philadelphia in the very near future. The event is called Dish It Up 2022. It is the only Philadelphia women-only chef competition to be held every year in the city. At this time, please help me welcome Diana Widjojo and Joanna Otero-Cruz to Food Farms and Chefs. Joanna, Diana, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us and talking about this great event and what the cause is and everything that goes with that.
Great. Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So before we get too far into what the event's going to be like that day, let's talk a little bit about what it benefits. The funds raised through Dish It Up support a great organization in Philadelphia called Women Against Abuse. It is the city's only comprehensive domestic violence service partner. Some statistics I read the other day online just struck me as so terrible that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men suffer some type of intimate partner violence. That is overwhelming to us. Can you tell us a little bit about what the charity does and how these funds are directly going out to help women in need?
Thanks, Jane. You're absolutely right. We touch thousands of individuals who are victims of domestic violence, survivors of intimate partner violence here in the city. Unfortunately, our Philadelphia Police Department responds to over 100,000 calls to domestic violence. So the numbers, the statistics are, as you indicated, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men. So it does not discriminate. And we are the Women Against Abuse is the provider that provides not just hotline services with some other nonprofits that support that, but also we are the only ones that has the legal center. As you can imagine, it is scary to go to court even to pay a traffic ticket, let alone standing feet away from the person you love who has brought harm towards you. So navigating through a very complex, whether it's through family court or criminal courts, having a legal advocate or attorney to really help you navigate a very complex system is something that we're able to provide. Also, we are the organization that has the only safe havens for survivors of domestic violence in the city of Philadelphia. So for a city where we have 1.5 million people, with the stats that we just talked about in domestic violence, we're able to serve more than 10,000 people a year as a result of providing services through, again, social services, our legal center, our hotline, or our safe havens.
Well, one of the other things that I give you so much credit for, when all the organizations out there were closing up their doors during the pandemic because they had no funding or donations were down, you managed to keep afloat and keep helping women in a time that was probably even more necessary when people were home for longer periods of time, spouse wasn't going out there, so many things that we hear about the pandemic where couples either grew closer or they separated. You were there really helping so many others. So really kudos to your organization for doing that. A remarkable service you're providing.
Absolutely. Services may have looked different. Our staff was really able to pivot to accommodate whatever requirements for the pandemic over the last 2 years. And we're not out of the woods just yet, but definitely things are looking up. But to be able to, again, pivot rather than close our doors is something that we're extremely proud of, because we know that the needs did not eradicate because we were confronted by a pandemic. If anything, as you said, unfortunately, we are hearing from many of our survivors that sexual violence increased, right, to keep at bay the rest of types of abuse. So it is a reality that our families continue to face and encounter, and we have to remain nimble and continue to pivot as needed to meet the needs of our survivors.
So let's get on to then a little bit about how the general public can come out and support the organization. The event's going to be Wednesday, May 18th. It's going to be at Lincoln Financial Field. Tickets are on sale, and we'll talk about how to get them in a little bit. We are expecting an incredible group of women chefs, both savory and sweet, who will be competing each other for the best dishes. We have some really remarkable people coming up. Joanna Lemming, who was just on the show a moment ago. Joanna will be there. We have who is a CHOP champion, so that's one. Diana, you're going to be competing. Julie Klein. We have Victoria Tyson, who's going to be doing a little bit of vegan food. I mean, we have Rebecca Foxman. We have a great lineup of chefs coming out, and we have an equally talented group of the majority of which are women judges. We have Gina Cannon, we have Marilyn Johnson from Philly Grub, and Barbie Marshall, who is Hell's Kitchen celebrity chef. And then we have David Spadaro, who doesn't love one of the Eagles talk show hosts. And David Spadaro is just a fabulous guy. Tell us a little bit about what the night is and what guests can expect when they get there.
So it's going to be a fun time with lots of food and an opportunity to celebrate all of these amazing chefs that you just named and many more. But it's really an opportunity to really elevate the needs of domestic violence, celebrate the survivors and their sense of resilience that they have, to continue forward, to keep informing the work that needs to happen to eradicate what impacts so many people each and every year. But we have a little bit for everybody. So as you say, for those that like the sweetness, but also the savory saltiness or what have you, the beautiful thing that happens in every culture, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen when we're hosting, right? And great conversations happen there, no matter what culture you come from. Conversations, people just tend to talk around food. And so we want to be able to nurture that and embrace that and have great conversations and really celebrate, again, our champions, our advocates who do this, whether in their restaurants or in their kitchen tables, to continue to elevate the awareness of domestic violence.
And that's so important that people could hear those stories and understand what they're going through. I've been involved with a group for many years, Walk a Mile in Their Shoes, which is at a college level. We do it a lot, teaching people about intimate violence and sexual violence and things like that. And literally the idea is that the men don high heels and walk a mile, and then hear some speakers and all. But those stories, those personal stories, and hearing that and hearing, the successes that come out of that really is what motivates people to get involved and take a hard look at that. So, what a wonderful format. We also have a couple great celebrities appearing that night. We have Telemundo 62 anchor Lean Small is going to be there. But more importantly, I don't want to say more importantly, but as important, we have Troy and Tommy Vincent. Tommy is a remarkable story. Can you tell us a little bit about her appearance there and a little bit about having that remarkable person on staff?
Yes. So every year we're able, we could not do this job alone. We need tremendous advocates, champions to really continue to, again, elevate the voice of the need and the resources that are available. And 2022 Advocates of the Year is Troy and Tommy Vincent. Troy Vincent is not just an NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame nominee, a former Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame inductee, but he's currently right now the Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the NFL. And Tommy is his wife. She's also a chef. So again, for something that she has dedicated her whole life. She's also a not just an advocate for domestic violence, she's a survivor of domestic violence. And she has taken her trade of culinary as a form of healing and sharing with other, again, spreading the word with the use of food. Her husband, Troy Vincent, is very open and an advocate also about his trajectory with domestic violence. A survivor of as a child, where he had the unfortunate experience of seeing his mom being a survivor of domestic violence. So they, as a family, have dedicated to build awareness around domestic violence and really support all efforts, domestic violence and sexual assault. So they will be present. They will be our 2022 Advocates of the Year for what they do as a family to build awareness around the world for domestic violence. And again, Tommy, as a chef, and the work that she's done across the country is amazing. It's an amazing story of strength and resilience, and they're going to be present to share it with us.
So I want to be very clear for all our listeners there that Tommy's story is not at the hands of Troy. So, we're all clear. Troy is an incredible advocate, one amazing human being. I've had the honor of meeting him several times, and his wife is just such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. But it's really an amazing evening of food. I believe that we're expecting about 500 guests this year for people that are there. Our very own Hugh Dillon will be there. Philly Chit Chat will be there doing pictures. There is a step and repeat. You'll be a lot of celebrities, and you'll be amazed at the number of people that are showing up that night. Just a really, really wonderful group of people there to share their experiences, enjoy the great food, and try the chef. So, do you get to, aside with the judge, do you get to try a lot of that food yourself?
There will be food for everyone, for sure. And we're definitely, we have some amazing competitors, and I know Diana's with us here today, but they'll have an opportunity to share their expertise with all of the guests that will be attending Dish It Up.
So how many years has Dish It Up been taking place now? What are we looking at here?
This is the 14th year.
Okay. So in the 14 years and the number of years that you've been involved in that, tell us a couple of the highlight culinary experiences that our guests can expect to possibly find this year as well.
I think, we'll definitely have a little bit of everything. Again, we have a myriad of different cultural foods, including vegetarian food for individuals. Again, I think that no matter what culture you come from, but we'll definitely have some Indonesian food, some Asian food, a little bit of Italian food. So a little bit of all cultures will be present. And again, as I said, we'll have a little bit for everybody.
And that's a really important thing to know, that there are options, whether it be gluten-free, vegan, things like that. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the event, in the fact that it is May 18th, as I said. There is a VIP component if you wish to buy a VIP ticket. The VIP is from 5 to 6, and that includes a tour of the Eagles locker room, I love the behind the scenes tours, have been on them many times, strongly suggested. And then the doors open from 6 to 9. Tickets are $150 per ticket. But terrible thing being an old head like me. Young professionals are only 75. So for
That's
those young
right.
professionals, go on, buy the young professional ticket. I guess I came a period in life where I could, enjoy that extra $75 donation. It's a wonderful thing. And it's for a good cause. And I encourage you, if you can afford a $150 ticket, don't just go with the 75. Buy the $75 ticket and donate another 75 to womenagainst.abuse.org. So if you're interested in finding out about the work that the organization is doing, you can look at womenagainst.abuse.org. You can also find some information online at Dish It Up. I have a question for Diana. What are you making at the event?
Oh, that's a secret.
Oh, can't even divulge that for our listeners.
Huh?
Can't
What did you-
divulge
Well,
that for
how
our
about at
listeners.
least the culture? Are you going to be bringing in your culture to that? Are you going to be stretching outside the box a little bit?
Oh yeah, I always try to incorporate at least like Indonesian cuisine with some American or like modern techniques to like these special occasions. Just try to make it a little bit special, prettier.
Right. So for our listeners, I cannot stress enough how fabulous an event this is, how great the food is going to be. Obviously, there's going to be beverages available. It's a comprehensive event. Look up Dish It Up, get involved. Don't be afraid to make a donation when you're there that night. Come make a donation there that night. Learn much more about the survivors and the stories that are involved. I want to thank both of you for the amazing work that you're doing. And before you leave, if each of you, before we end this, can share one important point that you think the general public needs to know about the mission that you have.
I would say that, we all know someone, unfortunately, that has been impacted by domestic violence. And so if you know someone, support them, let them know where to turn. You can always call our 24-hour hotline for any support. And that's at 1-866-713-3014. And come out and support Dish It Up and wear your purple.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for joining us, talking about really the cause. That the event itself you can find on our website or through our Facebook groups. You can get more information. You can look Dish It Up, but more importantly, the cause and the great work that you're doing. Thank you both for joining Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our show is very proud to be a part of that event. We'll be doing a live show from this great event. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Thanks, Maris.